This is the back end of a tower computer case, and the video is about this switch here. This switch was not part of the original case and was installed by myself. We're going to take this little nub off so that you can see it a little more clearly. This is a three-pole, three-throw switch that's controlling two completely separate SATA SSD drives that have separate operating systems on them. This is one, and that's the other. The center is neither. We're going to show you how this actually functions at the end of the video, but for now we're just going to go right into installing this switch. So if this worked, I imagine that you've seen the dual boot already worked, and I'll show you at this point what I've got to do this. These are Y splitters that I bought on the internet. This one came in a 3-pack. We'll get you a close-up of what this is. So we're using splitters, and these are switches. It's hopefully, again, bought these off the internet, not expensive. These are 3-pole dual throw, I ordered these as 3-pole dual throw switches. That means that there's three connections that are switched, and this is supposed to go in 2 directions only. Let's use the other one. It's supposed to go in 2 directions. Again, I ordered 2-throw switches. These turned out to be 3, center and that. These will totally work. Again, I ordered 2-pole. And this fun little rubber knob waterproof business was slightly extra, but I thought it was fun. So we're doing it. Little water pole thing. We'll visit that in a second. This is one that I had done previously to switch between 2 separate hard drives with different operating systems on a different computer. You'll notice that these are molex to SATA connections, and I didn't know until I started thinking about this new one. Molex to SATA, lose your data. I didn't have a problem with this thing, but we're just going to go a different direction with this. So you'll notice that the molex connections have 3. The molex connectors have 3 connectors, 3 wires coming out of here. Excuse me, 4 wires coming out of here. And there's an empty slot here for a 5th one. What's going on there? There's nothing there. 5th slot. Well, we'll come over to this one. This is a straight dedicated SATA Y splitter, and you'll notice that there are 5 connections on this. These are 2 grounds, 2 grounds and 3 powers. So what we're going to do is we're going to, this is obviously a splitter, so power's coming in and it's getting split out to both of these sides, presumably controlling 2 different drives. What we're going to do is we're going to cut these, and we're going to switch the power in between one and the other. And then there's that. Yes, we'll look at this. We'll look at this briefly again. This is the molex splitter, and this is a 2-pole, 2-throw switch. This actually is a 2-throw switch, and we're kind of one way and the other way. One operating system, the other operating system. One hard drive, the other hard drive. Whatever the case is. Same thing going on here. There's 2 grounds and 2 powers on this switch, which this is kind of a rat's nest. This is where the power comes into it, and as hopefully you can see here, there are 2 of these coming out here, 2 grounds, 2 grounds, and then 2 of the red connectors. I left the grounds connected between these two outputs, and I just left these hang. So I'm going to do the similar thing with the other one, only I'm going to do 3 of them. It'll, you know, either it'll make more sense or it won't. You know, we're going to see what wire strippers work in my collection, and then we're going to do some soldering. So we're gonna cut this guy. We're only cutting the powers. We're gonna leave the grounds, and we'll do that. Let's do that right here. So again, we've left the grounds connected with that, and then we'll do the same thing with this one. We'll do it at the same spot. Let's do it at the same spot. All right, so all the powers are cut to this one and to this one. We've left the grounds connected, so all 3 of these still have connected grounds and cut power. We'll get our switch back here, and let's take a fantastically closer look at this. So the way that this thing is going to work is that our power, if I had a little pokey guy, we would do that. We'll use this as a pokey guy. Our power is in the center, so we're going to put the power. Yeah, we'll put the 3 connections for the power in the center here. This side will be one drive, and then this side will be the other drive. And then we'll be just using this thing to switch between which side gets power. Now this central position, which I didn't actually pay for, but got anyways, I guess it's just kind of a bonus. So that means that neither drive gets power. It wasn't what I intended, but I guess it's not a bug, it's a feature. So we'll show you briefly the other direction I was going to go with this, and then we'll get started. So briefly just mention, this was the first direction that I thought I was going to go, and this is like a 5 million pole 2-throw rotary switch. Initially I thought that I was going to use this to switch 3 powers and join the grounds together on this and figure out how this worked out so I could have a fun rotary switch, which, you know, is great. One operating system, the other operating system. I had to map out how this switch even worked out, as I wasn't able to find any documentation. Most of these, the power comes in the bottom, and then you're switching one way or the other. But this one was quite a mess. This one's going back from whence it came. The big thing is that this thing is a huge hand grenade of a switch, whereas this one is a lot smaller, and it'll just work out. And I've got a bit of a space constraint in the back of my PC case, and this is going to work out better. So we'll bring you back out again, and what we're going to do is, we've cut these already, and we're going to start stripping some ends off. These are the two. This is the power in, and these are the 2 connections for the 2 separate hard drives. This is the power coming in to the 2 separate hard drives. I'm going to strip ends off of these so that I can put them on the switch. I actually did one of these. These clippers work fine. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of solder on it, and we'll put that on the switch. So this side is where the power is coming in, and you'll notice that the grounds are still connected. This was the original power to the one side, and this was the original power to the other side. I'm going to leave one of these unconnected, and then connect these 3 into the center of my 3-pole dualish throw switch. So we'll take care of that, and then we'll visit this in a second. So to tell you the truth, soldering on the underside of a bucket, not ideal. Maybe you can make some different decisions. So these are some of my many connections, and really I just cut them off small, and these are strands, so we just gave them a bit of a twist so that they hook things up better. And we're just going to put a little ball on the end of this thing and just sort of let that wick into the end, so that it'll make this a little bit easier to put this on the put this onto the switch. Just kind of like that. So all we're doing is just we're getting a little bit of solder on it, and then I'll do one more. I'll do one more for you, and then I'll just do the rest of these offline, and then we'll visit soldering these onto the switch. So this is our switch, and I just put it in a this little tiny adjustable wrench to hold it in place. This shot's too small for this. So what we're going to do is we've put some solder on the leads, and I'm just going to put a little bit of solder on these so that it'll make it a little bit easier to connect these up. And I'm going to work from the center. Yeah, you can see that. I'm going to work from the center. I'm going to do the center first, and then we'll do the outsides, as that seems like it'd be easier. Nice thing about just getting some actual gloppy solder on there is once you liquefy this stuff, the heat moves into the leads better. And we'll do this with the power for right now. And we'll do it this way. Hopefully you can see it. So I'm going to keep these. I'm going to keep these in line, gray, red, and yellow in whatever order they happen to fall on here. And we'll just do like that now. So I'm just laying these against here because these connections, these wires are too fat. They're too fat to go through the little holes on the switch. And then we're just going to call that a worker. So let's that's pretty good. I'm not sure if we can get you a better view of that. I would have liked to be able to lace these wires into the holes on the switch first. Again, there's a little too much meat on these wires. Laying them on the side is going to be fine, and I feel pretty secure with that. And I don't intend on this thing getting beat up too much. So we're going to put we'll put the rest of these connections on here, and then I'm going to be probably putting hot glue on this as my collection of heat shrink tubing, which is how I did this old one, is just not going to work because these wires are thinner actually than these ones, and there's that. So let's solder up a switch. All right, so I soldered this whole thing up, and here you can I'll make a mockery of my elite soldering skills. I'm sure I'll be getting horrible commentary from whoever. You know, I would have liked that to be better. But so the moral of the story is I don't even know what the individual colors here I don't even know what power is. I think there's a 5, a 3, and a 12 in here. I've just connected these. I could have been more thoughtful about them. I do have a meter. I wish the lighting were better on this. We've essentially, as you can see, this switches from the center power to the outside. So this is one, and this is the other. So if I do yellow, 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 and gray, 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 I obviously got reds in the center. Same gig. So again, that's switching the three power connectors. And as we come out here, it looks a little bit of a mess. That's going to be okay. But the grounds are still. This is our power source, and all of these grounds are still connected to the power source. Excuse me. All of the grounds are connected to the source plug for this, and then the 3 powers are on the switch. So these are just kind of loose and jagged. I'll cover these up. This, I'm going to shoot a bunch of hot glue in, and then I think this thing is ready to test out, which you've probably already seen if at the beginning of the video. So again, these are the connectors that I got, and they came as a 3-pack of these Y connectors, which just worked out to be better money-wise anyways. This, obviously, this cable has been shortened somewhat. Maybe I mentioned earlier that if I wanted to, so these 2 sides are switched. I can just plug this in, and it becomes an extension cord. And I've got a whole bunch of switched SATA, and I can do, I can switch 4 drives, 2 from a side. This switch is listed is fun, for 5 amps at 125 volts, which we're not doing anything near that. We should be fine with this. If there's a problem with that, then there's a problem with that. But yeah, we'll see how this thing locks up. Okay, so we're nearly done. This is all soldered up. I'm going to put some hot glue all over this. And these little spare endlets, which are on here, I think I'm going to cut these back and put some little pieces of heat shrink tubing on those ends. So yeah, hot glue gun. I'm not going to think about it too much. I think we're just going to do it, and we'll just sort of see how this goes down. I'm just going to. I mean, really, these are separated enough where it's probably okay. I don't expect a lot of heat to be generated by this switch. Really, something like a silicone, I'm sure, would be fine. But the nice thing about this is that it's going to cool off pretty quickly, and I can install this in the PC in probably a couple of minutes and check my work. And you know, ultimately, if I don't like how this works out or something doesn't fit right, I can cut a lot of this off. Yeah, and really, honestly, if things go totally south on this, I've still got 2 more cables and 3 more switches. I can do it all again. So let's do that. All right, so let's install our switch here. As you can see, this funny little gamer case that I've got has glass panels all over the place. It makes it a little bit challenging to find a spot to drill a hole and put a switch in. Perhaps you can see in this shot there's a hole right there. That's a hole, and I made that. That wasn't in there initially. That's where I want the switch. Here's what we have. It's a drill. Then you get a drill. You just pick a drill bit which is maybe just slightly larger than the diameter of that. It's not rocket science. So we're gonna just, let's see, so we just stuck a drill in there. This is vacuum nozzle, crank that in there so that it pulls out any chips that I generate. These obviously are, that's the plug that we made. This is the extension, we're gonna need both of those. This, which I'll even just sort of change that view a little bit. This is all of the power. This is all of the SATA power coming off of this power supply, and we're only going to use one of these, so we're just going to start by putting this thing in. I marked that actually. So I want the switch to go up and down, so I'm going to install it like that. It goes through our hole. Stupid lock washer, nut, I'll tighten that up later. These are the two switched powers which are coming off, and this is what we're plugging our power supply in. So I'm going to plug the power supply in right now, just for grins, because that's how we're living. That's in here. One of these is okay. One of these is, oh, it's a little on the short side. So we're going to use our extension on one of these. And I actually don't even recall which direction I got this set up at. So we're just going to do like that. This plugs in here, because that's where we got the space for it. Come on, get up on in there. And then this is the other switched one. Well, we're going to pretend that's actually plugged in, and I'll fix that later. All of this stuff just gets tucked in here, and this will be fine. This will be perfectly fine. Blah, blah, blah. We'll just tuck that in there, and then this cover goes back on. Hopefully we don't break the piece of glass, and then that's it. Switch in. So we're going to switch this down, which should power the Ubuntu drive. So we'll bring the switch to the upper position, which is the Windows install. I did not intend to have the no drives connected option on the switch, however I have it, which is cool. What's interesting is that if I do that, I can probably run this off of an SD card or a USB stick with no drives attached. And there's your Windows. I've changed the view here a little bit as we're going to use the center position, and I wanted to be able to show the BIOS screen. Neither drive is connected at this point, as the power has been removed from both of them. This computer is not going to be seeing any OS at all or any drives. The interesting thing is that now I can run this computer pretty easily off of a USB stick or an SD card with an operating system on it if I wanted to. So we'll look here, and again, it's dropped out to the BIOS, and here is the SATA information. Nothing. That's what we'd expected to see.